Hi everyone. Welcome to the show. A little bit of technical difficulty this morning.
We are live.
We're live and we're really happy for everyone who is out there watching us today. And today's topic is forgiveness. And Kim suggested it would be a really good topic for right after Thanksgiving and family.
Right.
But I'm going to say this, general consensus, everybody had a really peaceful Thanksgiving, and
they were grateful.
it was really nice.
They were grateful.
Zeb, can you throw the heater off? I'm sorry, I know we're live, but it's like really warm in here. So anyway, so we're talking about forgiveness, and everybody thinks forgiveness, oh, you have to forgive somebody for doing something that they did to you.
Right.
And yes, that's part of it, but also a big part of it is, got my new phone today.
Yeah.
Another part of it is forgiving yourself.
Totally.
A lot of times things happen and things happen to us and we think it's because of something we did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you really start understanding that everything we do is a learning experience and everything that we do is exactly for a reason to bring us to a higher spiritual awareness, to allow things to come to us, to know that we are definitely worth receiving things, and to stop thinking so little of ourselves. And part of forgiveness has to do with letting go of judgment, which is huge. And I know we all do, we see somebody wearing something, and look, I've said, somebody needs to get them a mirror for Christmas, and, not now, but I did at one point, think like that. And the more I got into a bunch over the last couple of years of things happening, it's really helped me to be humbled in a way that I didn't have far to go, but I've come a long way, and it's really become a part of my life. It's become a part of what I say in the morning when I plan my day. And so forgiveness happens when you don't want to hold on to any more of these things. Resentment, conflict, shame, judgment, guilt. And one of my favorite quotes from Buddha is, holding on to anger, which is a huge forgiveness issue, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Because when you don't forgive somebody and you stay angry at them, that's eating away at you. It's not eating away at them. They couldn't care what you're thinking because they didn't even care about whatever act it was that you need to forgive.
And that doesn't mean forget it. That just means
absolutely. Well,
stop holding on to it, because
holding on to it.
If there's a potential that person can do it again, you're not going to let them, come back and smack you in the face or whatever again. But so there's a difference in holding the energy of being angry in your heart and just thinking about it, and every time you think about it, you get more angry. There's a difference between that and actually letting it go.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I've shortened the their fault, my fault rule.
Yeah.
First time their fault, second time your fault. My dad used to say to me, boy, I don't want to do anything wrong to you one time, and you're like, and you know what, I've gotten to that point in my life that, I can forgive people, and I can absolutely see their position and possibly feel where they're feeling, but I'm not going to expend the energy anymore in letting things go, having them happen again, happen to go through that feeling again. I've decided I don't want to be in that feeling anymore.
And I have a great story that happened to me. I had an aunt who was just the nastiest person in my entire life, all my life. And we just held, every time I would see her, I would just be angry as anything. So my grandmother passed away. I'm in the church, and I'm on the other side, and this feeling came over me, like, get out of your seat at the Kiss of Peace. And I walked all the way around the church, and I said, I forgive you. And that is the last time I ever saw her.
Absolutely.
Because, and she was suing people, like, she was just, like, in everybody's business, including my mother. It was, like, a horrible thing.
And we all have an aunt like that.
That's the thing, like, you know, but it kept popping up. And the more you think about that person or that thing that happened, it keeps popping up in your life. This, like, I was inspired to go and forgive her, and I did. And I felt so at peace afterwards. And I hope she did too. Was, you know, it was just to release the energy that was involved with us. And I never saw her again.
And you can't connect yourself to how somebody else is going to feel because you don't know. But the bottom line really is that holding on to like anger and resentment and things like that builds up a negative energy in the body. And I'm going to tell you twofold here.
Truly.
When you're angry at somebody or you're unforgiving to somebody, it affects your physical body in a way that it affects your circulation, it affects your heart, and in the long run, why would you want to make yourself sick over somebody else not understanding? And sometimes people don't even know what they did, and you haven't forgiven them.
Yeah.
You can forgive somebody. I have a really cool meditation that I do with people sometimes, and it's a real simple thing I can tell you now. You close your eyes, you visualize yourself sitting across from the person, you're sitting in chairs across from the person, and you actually have a whole correspondence with them. You play it out. You forgive them, you tell them that you forgive them, you watch them accept the forgiveness, and then you actually ask them to forgive you, because how do you know there wasn't a little something that maybe you said or maybe you did at some point that triggered their behavior that you have to forgive now? I mean, you have to forgive the person and you have to forgive you.
And I don't know if you read that book, Eat, Pray, Love. Elizabeth Gilbert wrote it.
I didn't. I heard a lot about
and
it
she
though.
there was a movie with the book also. But she did that with her soon-to-be ex-husband.
Okay.
And both in the book, you had to read the book to really understand what was going on in the movie itself. But the same kind of thing where she visualized them two forgiving each other in their marriage. If you need a visual, it's in the book and it's in the movie. Yeah. And matter of fact, in the movie, there was a Neil Young song playing, and they were dancing together in her imagination. And every time that song comes on, I think of that.
Because this week we were talking about when you get up in the morning and play your day out like a movie, you can do the same thing.
Yep.
Visualizations are so strong and so powerful. You don't understand it until you try it. And it's not like you have to go out and spend money to do a visualization. You can sit in a peaceful place, quiet, alone, lights out, candle burning, however you want to do it in quiet, maybe a little bit background music, and play the scene of forgiving. You don't want all of those dense energies in your field, because if you're holding on to the feelings and not forgiving people for things, that's dense energy that you're holding on. And down the road, you may forget that you didn't forgive somebody, but you're still holding on to those lower vibrations. And let me tell you, holding on to that stuff will affect future relationships, which I'm sure you all know. And it affects and blocks manifesting and bringing in that higher vibration of manifestation. If you have all that stuff in your energy field of all those lower negative things, how are you going to bring new things into your life and really get to that place where you're feeling good, just waking up feeling happy, waking up feeling thankful, waking up feeling really good about yourself and your life and the people that are in your life? And you know what? The more you let go and the more you forgive and the more you let go of the forgiveness, the unforgiveness, you bring in love, you bring in compassion. And when you're bringing in those energies and you're feeling those energies, the energies you're putting out are going to bring those people into your life. And pretty soon, there's going to be people moving out of your life and new people moving into your life. Maybe some old ones coming back in because you're all at that different place now. How many of you have friends that were gone for so long in your life, and now all of a sudden they're like popping up like weeds? And you'll even say, like, isn't it funny, after all this time we've reunited, we're, you know, back in a social circle having a great time, but it's because you've let go of so many negative things that everybody at that other place now has a place to come back into your life.
Yeah.
And
events that you've been wanting to manifest will also, and if you practice the steps that we've been talking about, you know, meditating and being grateful and forgiving, I've actually seen in the last 24 hours an event play out because I'm so aware. And there was an event that played out in my life that I saw a piece of forgiveness in myself. In this one, something that I was holding myself back. And it played out in the last 24 hours. And I was like, oh, look at that, because I'm so aware, and all the players that were involved in it. It was very interesting, and I'm grateful to be aware of that. But that was definitely, it was like a curse was lifted off of me.
absolutely,
That's what
the
happened.
heaviness.
Yeah.
And you really don't realize how much it's weighing you down
Yeah.
until you let it go.
Yeah.
We've all had traumatic experiences with other people in our lives at some point in our lives. And in retrospect, when I've gotten to forgiving the person, and I don't have to love the person or spend time with them or be around them or anything, but that just letting it go just feels wonderful. So,
Well, because if you don't let that go, the lesson will keep playing until you learn it.
right,
Right? And so until you forgive that scenario, that part of you maybe,
right,
you'll keep seeing the lesson play out, like you said, with relationships.
Right.
If you don't forgive that, recognize what the flaw was, what you attract in that, the next you're going to still see that, and people say, I don't know why I keep attracting the same guy, the same kind of guy. Because you didn't recognize it in yourself.
and you still have that vibration
Yeah.
that's attracting that. For goodness sakes, if you haven't learned about that we are vibration and energy and how much we bring to us what we think. Like last week or the week before I said, you know, write down 5 things that you're grateful for. Send love to 3 people. Have any of you done it? Have you realized or noticed a change in how you feel, or have you come in contact with that person? I mean, we're giving you tips that we know have absolutely, hands down, worked with us.
Yeah.
It's not from a book. It's actually what we've experienced. So I'm going to give you a couple little tips for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Now, I already gave you the where you sit across from somebody and you allow yourself to forgive them and to be forgiven. Write down on a piece of paper, and this is good if you need to forgive yourself or somebody else and it's not something you really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Write it down. Write it down in a letter. Write down everything. Really make a confession. Nobody's going to see it. It's your own little secret. Nobody has to know. Write it down.
I do that, but I burn it afterwards.
And that was the next thing I was going to get to.
I was like, you might want to burn that.
After you write
Just
it
saying.
down and you've really written it down on paper, because writing something down is like a contract with the universe. It sees what you're doing. It feels your feelings. So write it down, burn it, and make sure that you say, I now release this burden of anger, shame, guilt, whatever you want to call it, now and forever.
Yeah.
And really let it go. And you can even put everything in a bubble, in a pink bubble, and watch it float away in your mind's eye until you can't see it anymore. And let it go.
That's where the patience comes back into play, though, because sometimes you're like, how many times have I said it to you? I didn't see that happen. It hasn't happened yet.
But
Right?
it will.
It will.
And everything is timing.
It is.
Everything happens at exactly
And it does.
the
That's
perfect time.
the
We
point.
actually have contracts, energetic contracts. Before we come and we're born, we have contracts with the people in our life. Children, parents, siblings, relationships, cousins, our animals. We have contracts that we've already signed, sealed. And we live the contract here. And when that contract is done, that contract is done. And there's always a huge lesson. So look at it like that. Somebody taught you forgiveness. Sometimes you have to teach the most powerful things that you don't see how you could forgive somebody for doing this. But listen, I don't care what it is. You have to let it go because it just blocks everything else in your life. And at some point, it becomes a subconscious thing that you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
And you're blocking things from coming into your life without even realizing that you're still holding on to these things.
Because they're the things that go around in your mind. When you can't clear your minds,
Right.
that's all the stuff, and that makes you judge yourself because you hear what they had to say about you. There's just so much that goes on, and the more you can release, the more you're going to be able to get clear and recognize the lessons that happen. I very truly had this happen where I was like, that was the lesson. I saw it for the first time maybe. Like I recognized that I got a lesson, and I'm quite certain that situation's done now.
Absolutely.
And that was cool.
And mantras are a line or a couple of lines that you say every day. And a mantra, actually, if you say it enough, whether it's just in your head, write it down, say it out loud, will actually change the vibration and the thoughts in your cellular memory and become the new thought process.
Yeah.
So if it's something you have to forgive yourself for, I am not that person anymore. Another one is, if it's somebody else, I am not here to suffer anymore. So think about positive ways to turn the unforgiveness around, let it go, and really free your spirit and your soul from being like, it's almost like being in lockdown.
Yeah.
And it's not worth expending all of that energy on other people's actions.
Yeah.
Believe me, there's another word involved in here, and it's karma. Let karma take care of all the things that you don't need to be involved with. And if you need to forgive somebody, why would you be angry and resentful and do something back to them? And that's another thing. Do I want to be resentful, or do I want peace in my life? I want peace in my life. I mean, I'm going to be 60 in 3 weeks.
She doesn't even look it,
And
right?
a day, thank you.
You're welcome.
And you
Would
know
never have
what?
thought that.
60 is a 6. It's about balance, and I'm really looking forward to that balance. Not only that, but in a 1 year next year, balance for my life, for myself, for my family, for my everything. Let things go. Start out fresh. You have the ability in your mind and the power in your energy, in your vibration, in your connection to source to change this now, change this today, change this right at this minute. And if you're not doing it, you have nobody else to look at or blame or shake the finger at but yourself. And it's really brought us to like such a wonderful place. Like that's why we want to stand on the rooftops and scream this out, because you just feel so light and so good. And you know what? Once you really live this way and you start talking to people and then they get the message, and you know, somebody comes back and says, I listened to the message, or I heard what you said and it just was the right thing I needed to hear today. That's like music to our ears.
Totally. Yep.
I mean, that's why we do this. And
I do also want to mention a little leg up today is we're still in the new moon energy.
Absolutely.
And so that is helping you
New
manifest
thoughts.
new thoughts. You had a video on yesterday, because it was actually yesterday that was a new moon, but it's 2 days before and 2 days after with the
Yes.
energies. So we're right in it.
Exactly.
If you're just thinking about getting started, you have a little bit of leg up today to
That's
help
right.
yourself.
You have the energy of the universe with the new moon, new everything, and with the Sagittarius new moon, it's explosive. Sagittarians have no limitations, no boundaries. Use that energy, because anything that you want to do is right for you. Stop worrying about what other people are thinking.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about what somebody's going to say about you. I mean, who cares? Take a look. And I don't mean it, I don't mean to sound like I don't care about what other people are saying and thinking. I don't care what their perception is, because you know what? It came from their life path, it came from what they've learned, and it doesn't matter to me, and it doesn't affect my day.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I can look in the mirror, be grateful for what I have, and be grateful that I was able to help who I was able to help, and really feel joy in my day. Like, I can really be happy and carefree pretty much all day, in spite of all the things that may be going around me with, situations.
I think of, first of all, Sinatra's "I Did It My Way" is always. I always think of that because we judge ourselves what we do. I homeschooled my son. I pulled him out of school and I homeschooled him for 3 years. And the backlash that I got initially from people that I knew who were fearful of that, why would you do that? All this stuff.
Exactly.
What are you talking about? And it was the best thing we could have done, and he succeeded. So it was awesome.
So somebody just asked about how do you forgive somebody in a car accident? Well, think about it. It's an accident. I don't think, with the exception of some of the things that are going on the news right now, I don't think somebody jumps in a car and says, today I'm going to go ram somebody and hurt them for the rest of their life or put them in a position like that. So think about it. It's a car accident. It's an accident. It is something that took place because of exactly the timing that you were exactly in the place that you were in. So instead of looking at it like, oh my God, that idiot, what were they thinking? Guess what? Maybe it was the universe saying, slow down, stop, see where you are. And if it's somebody who doesn't have insurance by some chance, there's another lesson in that too. You can't get angry about this stuff. You can be shocked, traumatized, all that, but you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, because these things sometimes are put in our path to make us stop and think and to be aware of our surroundings.
Yeah.
Checking out the rearview mirror, looking around, being on your phone, texting makes me crazy. I've even seen people who law people texting in a car. Like, you can't text and drive. It's hard enough to just change the radio while you're driving. I mean,
and I often think in moments like that, it could have been worse. So there's been so many times where, whatever it was, somebody got a disease or whatever it is, stop in the moment and be, ask what is the lesson, first of all. Forgive the circumstances that you're in right now. But also remember that, be grateful that you're alive, and now you got to start whatever it is from here.
right.
There's a lot more than the anger and everything that's going on in the moment. If you can
Absolutely.
step next to it and look at the perspective in a new way.
And I have a little short story I'll tell you
Yeah.
that happened years ago. One of my neighbors, one of the guys that's come to me since they were young, I won't mention any names and he knows who he is, had a little accident with a friend of his. They were both drunk. They were having a little argument. He fell and broke his right ankle. So, he came to me to get Reiki, this and that, and I said, well, right foot, what didn't you want to take the next step forward, moving forward? Because the right side of your body is the future, the left side of your body is the past. He's like, no, my friend threw me over, got drunk, blah, blah, blah. All right, again, a whole story. I don't want to hear it. What in your life weren't you ready to take that next step forward? It was the right foot. So he thought about it for a couple days, came up with the answer. Somebody did give him a, proposition to either do something today or they're done. And he chose not to. There's the broken right foot. A year later, same scenario, not for nothing, same scenario, breaks his left foot. I said, well, it must be something from the past that came back.
Wow.
No,
Wow.
got drunk. I said, well, first of all, you better stop drinking. But guess what? He was dealt the same situation, another option on the table, same person, and again, decided not to go with it, broke his left foot. So you see, there's always something for some reason, and sometimes, as hard as it sounds, you have to kind of reach out and even say thank you to the people that are teaching you the lessons and teaching you forgiveness. So for all of you that joined us today, we're so happy that, we're able to be here and do this for you. We love you very much.
Yeah.
And next week, stay in tune for next week's. We'll post it on Facebook what the topic's going to be next week.
And I will say this too, for the person that was in the car accident, keep in mind to ask for the best possible outcome that could happen. And just keep saying that. If you have to just keep saying it in your head, and I hope it will.
If nothing else, be grateful every day that you're here, that you wake up and you have the opportunity to just have the most blessed day, because your day is what you make it. Love you.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day.